Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another live stream. It's been a while, but we are back today with a very special live stream showing you a preview of what's coming up in next patch of RaceRoom. Just gonna tell the crew chief to keep quiet.
Okay, I'll keep quiet
for now. Yeah, so we're gonna have a look at what's coming in RaceRoom next patch, and of course, as you know, we have the Group C cars coming. That includes the Porsche 962C Team Yost, as well as the Nissan R90CK. We are here in a session, single player on Road America, and we have a multi-class grid on the track with some GTO cars and also the Porsche 964, which is also a new car that will come with the next patch. It's a classic Carrera Cup from the early 90s. Also very sexy car, but of course here the star of the show, the 962. I think many of you guys have been looking forward to this one. Group C, extremely spectacular cars, needs no introduction to most of you. And I would say let's jump into this. But yeah, before we go out on track and show you this beautiful car in action, I want to show you something else that we have also told you guys about that is coming and which will be included in this patch, and that is some updates to the shared memory. And what does that mean? That means that some developers will be able to create apps to be run with RaceRoom. Similar as when you do a spectator, when you spectate a race, you have all these overlays and all these things, but you can have these or similar things now as well during gameplay. And Mape, our web developer, has already made an example of what you will be able to do, and we will share this example with you, so you can check it out for yourself. And this is basically our web dash that is includes some HUD elements that I think many of you will be very interested to check out. So as you can see, we have a lot of new elements here. It will become more clear when I start driving. We have a new position bar up there. That is also class specific, so you can see if you're leading in your own class or whatever else is going on. There's a G-force meter, there's a spotter, there's an input meter, as you can see here in the bottom right. There's a new tire app and all sorts of cool things that you will see today as well in action. But yeah, to show it to you properly, let's go out on track and do a couple of laps. And this beautiful Porsche 962. I hope the sound is alright. You can hear the car well, because it sounds awesome. Anthony, as always, done a terrific job.
Pit exit's clear.
Yeah, tire temperatures is one of the things that you can see here on the tire app. You can also see brake temperatures, and you will be seeing, if I go off track, then you can see the dirt buildup on the tire app. You can see the red outline of the tire, that is to indicate the dirtiness of the tire. Obviously with a dirty tire you have less grip. Quite a bit of turbo lag in this car, so it's actually quite easy to drive. It's a lot of downforce, of course, with the double wing in the rear, but when the turbo kicks in, then all hell breaks loose. That's quite exciting to drive. No ABS or traction control, of course. So you can see the G-force meter in action. You can see the spotting app that tells you if a car is next to you. You will see in a second when I overtake this car. It will indicate that there's a car next to me. You can see the car in proximity to you, and it will also change color when you're side by side, like that. You can see in the bottom right. You may be familiar with apps like these from other sims.
Incident in Sector 3. Sector 3 is yellow.
You can see a team radio overlay when the crew chief talks to you, which is amazing work, also thanks to Mr. Bilowski, who has supported this. So every time the crew chief is on the radio, you'll see this overlay in the left side. But the other cool thing is, let me show you this real quick. Let's just park here for a second. The other cool thing is that you can move all these things. So you want to move the G-force meter over here, and you can move the spotting app over there. You can move, for example, the fuel over here, or wherever you want, of course. And you can resize it as well. So if you just hover over the element or the app, and you use the scroll wheel of your mouse, you can resize it up to a certain maximum. Or if you hover over to the left and go above the settings icon here, you can open bigger settings where you can enable and disable all these things. So if you don't need tires, you can disable it. You can disable inputs, or you can just disable the steering wheel of the inputs, which will then leave you with just the pedal information, which is pretty good. So you can enable and disable all of these things. We also have different languages, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty useful. I'm gonna just move the tires over here and make them a little bit bigger so you can read it better. And yeah, I think it's a good idea to move the spotting app somewhat center. It all depends on your preferences, of course. And then you can move these things a little bit closer together. And there we go. Let's keep going. You notice there's also a slight beep.
Clear, green flag.
When a car is next to you, you can of course disable that if you don't like it. So all these things are made possible due to the update that we have made to our shared memory. And of course our hope is that the creative members of our community will then start developing their own apps and overlays and things they might see missing from this, or they want to add to this, or make their own web overlays themselves. So I'm really hoping that we will start to see some really cool apps being developed by some talents in the community. I think you will really enjoy these Group C cars. The Porsche 962 is a little bit easier to drive than the Nissan, but it's really fun nonetheless, both of them. And with the multi-class feature that we have in single player, it's gonna be very interesting to run some races with cars like this that we have on the track right now. We have the GTO cars and, as I said, the 964 Carrera Cup Classic,
okay, George,
which are cars that actually ran together in endurance races in the 90s. So it's a pretty authentic grid that we have going here. And of course, Road America, one of the well-known IMSA tracks as well. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention there's a Delta app, as you can see now. It's very useful for hot lapping and qualifying. So you can see in cars that don't have a delta on their display, you can see it here on the web dash. Of course it tells you if you're gaining or losing. If the bar is green, that means you're currently going quicker. If the bar is on the right side, that means you're quicker than the lap that you are comparing to. And you can also see there's an estimated time and estimated position information included in that app. So if I continue to drive this lap like this, I will be ending up on position 8 of my class, that is. So really useful information right there. And you can also see 3 bars below the main bar. So the first one was green, the second one was gray. Those are the sectors, and colors indicate your personal best, or if it wasn't an improvement it's gray, and if it's an overall best it will be purple. So this is something I was always missing, a proper delta HUD, and thanks to this new shared memory update you can have it now in game, and you can develop your own if you want to, or download somebody else's if he shares it. So the tire wrap on the bottom left is pretty self-explanatory, I think. You can see the tire temperature in a number, but also in color. Blue means cold, green means okay, and then it goes red when it goes too hot. And next to the tire you have the brake temperatures. The same applies to that. And speaking of tires and temperatures, if I go back to the garage in the car setup screen, you will notice that there are tire pressures now in here. Something that many of you have been asking for a very long time, and finally we were able to introduce those to a selection of cars. We haven't updated all the cars yet with this feature, but we will do so as time allows. But for now a selection of cars will have adjustable tire pressures, and of course you can adjust it individually in the front and rear, left and right, however you see fit. And of course the pressure has an effect on the temperature. So if you're seeing, for example, your front tires are not getting up to temperature, you could increase the pressure. And the other way around, of course, with higher temperature the pressure will change. So it will require a little bit of testing on your side to find the ideal pressures, but I think out of the box it's very useful settings. I don't think I'll myself fiddle too much with these, unless of course it makes me quicker, in which case I will have to. So of course you can see the tire compound as well. We have, in this particular car, we have a soft and a hard compound, and yeah, you can only change them combined, otherwise that wouldn't make sense, because this has a pretty huge effect on the balance. What else? You see a lot of setup options. Everything is adjustable in this car. Not so much in the 964, which we'll be driving on later. Speaking of tire compounds, soft compound of course is very useful in the qualifying. It provides more grip but has much higher wear, so after a few laps you will start to feel significant wear on the tires. So depending on the car, I would say on this car it's pretty much a qualifying compound, or for a very short stint of course. But for race it's obviously suggested to use the hard compound, which we'll be putting on now, and do a few more laps.
Hello everyone, hey Barkeeper Mo,
Jason, Tom, Chris,
car behind. Take care,
Porto.
rejoin him. Blue flag.
Hope you guys are doing great, and looking forward to this patch that should come out fairly soon. I think the guys are trying to get it out this week, but of course we're still beta testing the latest build, and we'll see if we can catch all the bugs. But it shouldn't be long until you will get your hands on this. So I figured I'll show you a little bit.
More sheep in the house.
Wow, thanks for the sub. If you want to know more about the cars that are coming, then definitely check out Alex's driver briefing videos that he made. I've linked them in the description. He's of course the Sector 3 Studios physics developer and can give you much more information about physics than I can. All I can tell you is that this car is a lot of fun to drive, insanely high downforce, but at the same time you feel that it's not a modern car, so you have to treat it like that. It's really nice how you can feel the oversteer when the turbo kicks in, but it's definitely manageable. You can really feel when the car starts oversteering and correct it. It comes through the force feedback very, very nicely. The Nissan is a bit more tricky to drive. I think it has slightly more power and less downforce, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if Alex is in the chat, he can probably correct me, but I think that's the case. Maybe I'll drive the Nissan in a minute to show you that car as well. Service VV Racing. So yeah, definitely looking forward to some multi-class racing with the Group Cs combined with GTOs or even Group 5, even though that's not historically super accurate. But I mean, those cars also share track sometimes with historic events. You can see, like in Spa and Hockenheim and Nürburgring, they hold these historic events with all kinds of historic cars. And yeah, don't be afraid that this car will be too difficult to drive. I think some of you may still have the 934 in your memory, which was really, really tough one. These are easier to drive, but of course that's due to the downforce. The 934 basically has hardly any downforce, and the 964 is also a lot of fun. It's going to provide some extremely nice and close cup racing. Yeah, so to sum it up again, what's coming this patch, hopefully this week, are the Group C cars, Porsche 962 and the Nissan R90CK. Porsche 964 Carrera Cup that you see right in front of me right now. And then we have tire pressures for a selection of cars coming. And the shared memory update, which will come with this web dash application that we will publish on the forums probably as an example, and then we are hoping to see more apps being developed by the talents in our community. So really looking forward to see where that is heading. We also have a few updates to the dedicated server interface, if I'm not mistaken. You will be able, I think, to skip the next session if you're a server host and stuff like that. There's more planned, but didn't quite make it in this patch. But if you read our latest developer update, we go into a little bit more detail of what we want to develop in the near future.
There's a car leaving the pits.
So, but not everything that was mentioned in the roadmap or in the dev update is gonna come out this patch. But we are definitely working on a lot of things, including also flat spots and suspension damage, which are gonna be game-changing in my opinion. It really limits how much you can abuse the car when you drive it, especially the flat spots, of course. We already have punctures in the game, so if you stay out on your tires for too long and they wear off completely, then you will eventually get a puncture. And that is not to be confused with flat spots, of course. A flat spot is when you lock up your brakes or your tires for too long, keep rubbing off the rubber of a certain spot on your tire, then you will get a flat spot, meaning the tire will be like a little bit flat on that particular part of the tire, and that will result in wear of the tire for one, but also
sector 3.
vibrations in the force feedback. You will feel it, and I can tell you guys, even if it's not coming out this patch, but what I've seen in the developer build, hey Michael,
Yellow flag, stay
is
sharp.
really promising, and it feels amazing in the force feedback.
Green flag.
You can really feel the tire being square, lots of vibrations.
It's shaking right there.
Here's a little bribe. Can I have mine Group C now? Hee hee.
You need to
Okay,
send
George,
that bribe to
car
JF.
heads
Maybe he
up.
can make it happen for you. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it. Really kind. But yeah, flat spot feel amazing. They need a little bit of tweaking still, but it can't be too long until they will be published as well. Yeah, and then the suspension damage, which also not part of this patch, but will come out once we have fine-tuned it. And that basically means that with every collision, every hard collision, you run into danger of bending your suspension, and that has a consequence that your steering will be slightly off-center. You will also see that and feel that through the steering wheel, and of course it changes the geometry of your suspension and your tires, so you can yeah, it changes the camber and the, what do you call it, toe-in or the toe values. You can see we have a video on YouTube on the RaceRoom channel of a big crash in a Formula RaceRoom 3 car. where you can see that in action.
Sector 2 is clear.
And yeah, that means bigger punishment for wrecking your car. So if you put your car into an Armco, right now you can damage your aero, which of course will also have an effect on the handling. You will have much more or less downforce, and that definitely is a disadvantage. But with the suspension damage added to that, the need of pitting your car and repairing it is much higher. Yeah, it just looks and feels amazing. I think you guys gonna like it.
Green flag sector 3.
So more safe driving and more consistent driving will be more rewarded over hard lapping and then maybe overdriving the car and damaging your car with a combination of flat spots and suspension damage and damage overall. If you're doing consistent laps and keep it safe, don't hit other cars, have a higher chance of making it into the finish line. Across the finish line, I should say. As we're following this Audi GTO through some traffic. Michael, yeah, I'm having a great time on my bike lately, which is also a reason why I'm doing less sim racing live streams. But I figured I needed to show you what's coming because it's super exciting. And I'll probably also live stream this Saturday. We're gonna have the round 2 of RaceRoom BLM on the Nordschleife. I'm gonna finish this lap and then I'm gonna hop into the Nissan, so I can show you that car a little bit in action.
Yellow flag in sector 3. Sector 1 is yellow. Engage limiter.
Yeah, the patch is supposed, or we're trying to get the patch out this week. I cannot promise, we cannot promise, guys. We are testing it right now actually, and if everything goes well, it should be out this week, but of course always things can happen, things can always happen. But we're trying, guys. And if it's not gonna be this week, then latest next week, hopefully. Right, I'm gonna jump into the Nissan now, which is gonna be a little bit more of a handful. Hello, Mostache. Mostache. So here we go. Find the Group C with the 2 cars. I can show you real quick the liveries. Of course, there's not so many real-life liveries, but all the most important and iconic ones are of course in here. Same for the Nissan. Of course, there's a lot of similar looking ones, and we also have some inspired liveries that are not 100% realistic. But of course, I'm gonna pick the 23.
It's shaking big time.
Good stuff, Georg.
Hey, thank you, Remes45. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. You can see some differences in the rims actually here. Even if the livery is similar, you have the classic golden spoke rims, and you have these 5-spoke black rims, also looking very nice. I think I'm gonna pick number 24. That's looking good. And of course, you are familiar with the AI opponents selector. You can choose your own grid with multi-class or single class, whatever. I have As you see on the right side here, I have the Group C and the GTO Classics and the Porsche Carrera Cup, as we just saw in the previous session. I'm gonna stick to that. Maybe I'll go to Mid-Ohio for this one. Also a very nice track. No chicane. Let's see, do we have enough grid spots? Yes, we do. Let's go. Yeah, so I hope you guys like what you're seeing. It's been quiet for a while, but it's only because the guys are very, very busy developing new stuff. Max out downforce in the front and rear. I'll do that. Thanks for the tip, Tom. You might see some older WTCC classes that we use for esports. Not sure what you saw, but there's no new WTCC because there is no more WTCC in real life. There's WTCR, which we are still a partner of, and expect some news in the future, in the near future, about that. Right, so let's go into the setup. I'm gonna pick a hard tire compound for this session, as we're gonna drive a few more laps. And then, yeah, Tom says max out the aero. That sounds good, let's do that. And that should be all for now. So let's adjust the cockpit view a little bit here. You can move back, forward, up, down. You can also shift the perspective. In case you didn't know, you can look down, look up. Those are all settings you can bind in the controller options. And I'm gonna go in here again, and then I'm gonna disable the G-force meter because I don't necessarily need that. Also gonna, yeah, let's keep the rest as it is. I wanted to show you also what, because in the race session we have some more apps that I can show you. We will do that in a minute. I don't know where I should put this one here. I'm usually not a fan of too much HUD elements, but I can keep it here. Maybe we make it a little bit smaller, put it in the center, or keep it over there. That's the good thing, you can completely customize this as you wish. And of course, you can also still, while using this, have the old or the regular game menu. So if you want to combine the game menu with the web menu, or I should say dash or apps, then you can do that as well. But we're not going to do that for now. So I'll just move that back real quick here. Alright. So let's focus on the sound a little bit here of the Nissan. Sounds aggressive. I like it. Hope you can hear it through the stream.
Take care, there's a car approaching.
Oh my. That sound though. Have to be very patient in the corner. Don't be on the throttle too early, because you will get understeer in the corner, but also oversteer coming out of the corner. We're gonna see some epic fights with the Porsche versus the Nissan. I'm not sure which one I prefer myself. I think the Porsche is a little bit easier to drive, so I'm tending towards that one, also because I'm a big Porsche fan, of course. but the Nissan is a beast, let me tell you. You need to be careful when that turbo kicks in. Hi Violator, everybody. Sorry if I missed a few questions in the chat. I was too busy enjoying these cars and talking. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can tame the Nissan via some setup tweaks as well. Ooh, I was a bit early in the break here. Got passed by the Mustang.
There's a faster class car approaching.
Loving it. Yeah, what else is new in this patch? I mean, of course, AI is always being tweaked, so I expect a few updates there as well. And I think we'll ship some physics updates as well. As always, I'm not sure which classes will be touched with this patch, but Alex has been doing a lot of work, not only on these new cars, but also some of the older content. Wow, such a beast, that car.
The car behind is a faster
Servo
class.
tools, yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Some of the things that we have in development will be in this patch, if I'm not mistaken. For example, the option to skip or restart a session if you're hosting a server, which is nice, I think. Of course, there's more in development, but wasn't quite ready for this patch yet. But if you've read the developer notes that we published a few weeks ago, a week ago, there is much more to come. Wow, AI is lapping the cars faster than I am. It's always great to see how well the AI copes with multi-class and traffic. It's not perfect, obviously, but they're doing a pretty damn good job. Hello, Claudio. Oh, you can see this livery to my right here. That's Olaf Mantai. You might be familiar with Mantai Racing, the Grello Porsche. This was him driving in '92, I think, in the German Carrera Cup. Epic stuff, epic stuff. Legends. There's Uwe Alsen, Olaf Mantai, Alex Zanardi, Mika Häkkinen, and many more who have driven this Porsche Cup, who we have right in front of us here right now. It's a mix of liveries from the German Carrera Cup and various others, including the Super Cup, which you might be familiar with. Used to be Sport Series in the F1 back in the days, and still is now, of course, with the newer 911 Cup. Walter Earl, you're right, Scout. How could I forget?
There's a faster car approaching.
Hey Totoring, glad you like it. Using my gearbox a little bit right now. That car is a beast. But yeah, you can really feel it well in the force feedback, what the car is doing when it's oversteering. I think it's mainly due to the tire developments that Alex has done in the physics department. I think we've come really a long way with the tires. And of course that new tire model will also be applied to all the cars that are coming out from now on, and all older cars that we will update as well. Whew. Careful in second gear. I don't think the kick or ban feature made it in. I might be wrong. I don't know if Jeff is still here. Maybe he might be able to correct me. But it's in the works. I've seen it in action, so if it's not in this patch, it will definitely come maybe in the next patch. Or it's in this patch. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. Actually, I think it might be in this patch, since we've tested it. I guess you will find out, hopefully tomorrow or Friday, if we manage to get the patch out this week. All depends on how the beta tests are going. You guys are busy testing the game right now in multiplayer. Hopefully it's not looking too bad, and we'll have a build in the coming days that we'll be able to share with you guys. For those who are wondering, the Group C cars will of course be available in a class pack, as every car that has more than one car in the class.
There's a faster car approaching. Yellow flag sector 2.
What the hell?
It looks like Wilson has gone off in madness.
That name on the team radio looks a bit distorted. Not sure why. It didn't spell my name quite right. How's my pace?
3.6 seconds off the pace. Sector 1 is
Oh,
1.9 off the pace. Sector 2 is 1.7 off the pace. You need to find a 10th in Sector 3.
Not sure why it says that. Yep, no, there's no traction control. That is actually one other app that you are currently not seeing because I don't have any traction control. But actually, if I enable it here, you see it's factory none, but I can force it on, of course, and I can also force ABS on, which will give me some weight penalties, I believe, for the traction control, or maybe not. Maybe not. No. Oh yeah, there it is. You can see on the left weight ballast from traction control. This is also a new type of HUD that we are introducing. We are getting rid of these huge graphics that show up, for example, if you get a drive-through and similar things that were always blocking the virtual mirror in the cockpit. These messages you will see from now on the left-hand side of the screen, as you just saw the weight penalty message. Can I trigger that one again? Yeah, there you go, here on the left. So that will be much cleaner HUD and much less intrusive. But what I wanted to show you is this app right here, right down there. You can see if you have driving assists enabled, like traction control, ABS and whatnot, there will be an app telling you when they are active, when they are kicking in. So you can see on the brakes, you will see the ABS, and on the throttle the traction control that is active. Of course you can enable or disable this app, and you can move it around wherever you want, and even resize it and all those cool things. So that's pretty cool as well. But yeah, keep in mind that all these apps that you are seeing on screen here, that's just an example made by Mape, our web developer. And of course our hope is that some creative people in the community will take this as inspiration and develop their own apps. You can basically do anything you want with the information that is being shared, and style it the way you want it. If you're a web developer, then you're gonna have some fun with this for sure. And on that topic, you see, if I move my mouse over to the left side of the screen, there's an icon to hide all the apps or show all the apps. You have the settings up here, like I showed earlier. The bar here is to increase or decrease the size, but you can also do it by hovering over and using the scroll wheel of your mouse. But what I wanted to show you is down here in the bottom left. I don't know if you can see it. It says telemetry. So if I click that, you can see a window appearing on the right side with all the data that is in the shared memory that you can use to develop your own apps. So this is mainly for developers, but you can check it out yourself if you want to. There's a lot of information here that you can enable. For example, here it says car speed. If I click that, you will see down here some telemetry appearing that shows the speed of the car. That's of course a very simple one, but there's tons of different ones. You have DRS, is it equipped or is it available, is it engaged? All this information, this data that you can use to develop your own apps. We have flag statuses. Some of the more interesting ones, I guess, are, let's see here, we have some tire information. So there's tire dirt, for example. You can see now if I run over the grass,
green flag, all clear. Blue flag.
You can see how dirty the tires are and how quickly they are going back to clean tire. Of course, this is very nerdy stuff, and it's mostly useful for developers of apps, but it's just to show you how much data there is available for you guys now to be used in your apps. What else do we have? There's of course throttle. You can see how much throttle is being used. That's of course being used in our input meter already.
Yellow flag, stay sharp.
Tire flat spot, that will be for the future when we introduce flat spots. Tire grip, that's an interesting one. So you can see tire grip 1, that means maximum grip. As I turn and the tire starts to slip, the grip decreases. Then we have tire pressures over here. That might be actually quite useful because we don't show that anywhere else right now, but if you are a web developer, and then you can use this data and include it in your app. Yes, ja Steffen, das verstehst du richtig, genau so ist es.
Green flag sector 1.
But again,
Green flag sector 2.
this HUD is just an example, and we're hoping that some modders or some app developers will use it and make their own apps. So possibilities are basically endless. So what else do we have? We have tire wear, which is of course used in the tire app, and all sorts of telemetry. So you can close the window and just leave that over here showing, or you can clear it and then it will be gone. So yeah, tons of data. Oh yeah, weight penalties. We have tested that too. I'm not 100% sure if it's gonna be in this patch, but I'm pretty sure it is actually, yeah. Good that you mention it. You'll be able to, as a community admin or as a dedicated server host, you can give a certain car model a certain weight penalty or a certain driver. It's up to you. So that will be quite useful for league admins. Wow, that was a bad downshift. Again, don't quote me exactly on what is coming this patch, because we are still in the phase of testing all the features. And of course, if we see them not working, if we find a bug, then it will not be in this patch. But I'm actually quite certain that weight panels will be in there. And if not, they will come for sure at a later stage.
Green flag, you're clear. Car behind's a faster class.
So, let's continue with a short race session so I can show you another cool thing. Qualifying, we're gonna skip that. Well, glad you like it, Vushel. But of course all these features are coming for free, so you don't have to pay for them. Only for the new cars. Yeah, hard tires for the race, of course. And away we go. So there you have it. There's another app you can see.
Green, let's go, let's go.
In the left, and that is the relative position. This shows you, as the name suggests, your relative position in the race. So meaning, for example, if I let this Mustang pass, you can see in the bottom left him showing ahead of me. As where the position bar in the top will of course not change, or it will when we race each other, but not when lapping. But the relative position will show basically track position. So even if I'm leading the race and I'm lapping slower cars, I will see the slower cars appearing right there, and you can actually see the gap to the next car ahead on track in meters in that app, which is quite useful. Of course, color-coded by class, so you can always tell if you're about to lap a slower car or whatever the case might be, if a faster car is approaching from behind. So yeah, again, most of you will probably be familiar with apps like this from other sims. So, but yeah, very glad that we have them in RaceRoom now as well. I think the biggest one for me is the Delta. The Delta app up here, which of course you can also move around.
Sector 2 is clear.
Really glad to see that one. Tire wrap is also very useful. You can see the color, the temperature. Bad downshift. Yeah, I think I'm gonna switch in a moment to the Porsche 964, so I can show you the Carrera Cup Classic in action as well. If you want to see a specific track with that, let me know in the chat. Of course, that car is again an entirely different beast than the 934, for example, even though they are both 911 types. The 964 is much more modern, it's like 20 years younger. It has ABS, and much easier to control, if I say so. 40 mile, oh god. That's not very historically accurate for the Porsche 964. Nordschleife, yeah, I could see that. Hot lap in the north. Well, I can try, but you know, reading chat and hot lapping at the same time, that's a difficult task. I'm too old for multitasking like that. You know what I would really like to see a modder to develop with this shared memory API would be basically some broadcast graphics, same as we have for spectator mode for streamers and broadcasters. I would actually be really interested in having some TV style inspired overlays also for gameplay. For example, a score tower on the left. That would be really nice, especially for me when I'm live streaming races from cockpit view as I'm driving. But I think it really adds some nice touch for the viewers. Or what I also would like to see is like different types of MOTEC displays, like, you know, for example, a Formula 1 style gear meter, or what do you call them, rev meter, or WEC style, or whatever, you know, that adds more authenticity, adds a little TV broadcast flavor to the game. I'm quite confident that we're gonna see some apps like these appear, as we have seen in the modder community with other titles. I mean, the data is all there, so I hope people will make a good use of it. Hello, Penny Bucker. I agree, Sightless. Especially with some of our upcoming content. Hey, thanks for the sub. Sheep in Raus. Let's see if we can overtake Kenny ahead of us. And then we're gonna change to the 964 and do some laps on the Nordschleife. There's no room. You're right, I should turn off the assist that I had enabled. Oh, we're running into traffic already. That was quick. That should give me a good chance.
Coming up on a slower car.
Oh yeah. Ooh, he's coming back though. Ouch. developing into a race here.
You're approaching some slower cars. These guys are fighting for position.
Love how the crew chief analyzes the race. Again, great work by Mr. Bilowski. Can get the crew chief app on, I think the URL is in the description. You should definitely support him for developing the crew chief app. Best app available. Not just for RaceRoom, but all kinds of titles. Yeah, unfortunately not all of the data, or none of the data, I think is available in replay. So the dash will not work in replay. For now, maybe at some point in the future, but it's currently not a priority to make it work in replay. But I agree, it would be very nice.
There's a group of slower cars ahead. Yellow flag sector 2. Sector 2 is clear.
Oh man, this is so much fun in the traffic, guys. But I have to be careful. Cannot just drive through those cars.
Slower cars ahead.
Such a great fit.
For position. They might not see you.
The Group C plus GTO plus the 964 Cup. It's a perfect mixture. Even though, yeah, the GTOs are goddamn quick, so it will be a while before we catch them in the race. But I'm not gonna continue for much longer here in this race because I'm about to switch to the 964. Holy moly. Hey Billy, thanks.
Slow
yeah,
car ahead. He's the class leader
shouldn't
for
be
these
long
guys.
until it's out. We're trying to get it out this week, if all goes well. Let's see what the testing shows us. I know we have already found a few things that still need fixing. So fingers crossed it will happen this week, and if not, it's gonna be probably the next week. I want to change to the 964, but I also can't stop racing this car. You have to be careful on the throttle with this Nissan. The Porsche too, but the Nissan is slightly more aggressive or more powerful. Just one more lap, yeah. So yeah, summing it up one more time, what's coming out hopefully this week is the Group C cars that you see here, the 964 Porsche Carrera Cup Classic, the shared memory update, which will allow you to run this new dash, web HUD, and then some dedicated server updates for admins. 100% sure that skip session and restart session will be an option, and I think that kick and band players is also gonna be in there, but don't quote me on that, because things are changing. I'm not 100% up to date with the beta tests and the bugs that are being reported, but of course we wanna make sure that things that we do update are working. Okay, this is gonna be the last lap as I'm fighting this Porsche here. Wow. Wow. Yeah, the spotter app, it's a bit hard to see over there. I would probably, if I was gonna use it, probably move it a little bit more center just to the screen. So, but of course you can do that the way you wish. You can just drag it over here and use the mouse wheel to increase size, decrease size.
Say again.
Shut up, crew chief. Yeah, so let's jump into the 964 and then we will wrap this stream up. I hope I got some information across what you can expect with the patch coming. Carrera Cup Classic, that's the one. So it is a Porsche 911, but the model type is a 964. So many cool liveries, guys. And these are all real liveries from early 90s, German Cup, Super Cup, and I think a few others as well, like French Carrera Cup, if I'm not mistaken. This one over here is super famous. And of course, Manthey, one of my favorites. I think I'll drive that one. Who else do we got here? Wolfgang Land might be a familiar name to some German motorsport fans from Land Motorsport. Mika Häkkinen, this is a Super Cup livery. Roland Asch, also very famous in Germany. Tony Seiler, wasn't that a skier? If I'm not mistaken. Alfred Heger, some very, very iconic drivers in here. If you are into historic motorsport and especially Germany based. Walter Röhrl, that might be familiar to most of you. Uwe Alsen, one of my heroes, Nordschleife legend. But yeah, let's go with Olaf Manthey because I love that green livery. And we are gonna reset our filter because we don't want to do multi-class this time. And we're gonna select, let's go with 19 opponents, so that's 20 cars in total. Let's head on to the Nordschleife VLN, because that's the layout they raced back then. Thiago Monteiro, I think we added that to the WTCR at some point, because he was injured, wasn't he? But haven't we added him? There he is, Thiago Monteiro. Or did you mean in the Porsche Cup? I'm not sure if he raced there. He might have. All right, let's go. 110% difficulty. I don't know if I can keep up with the AI. We'll see. He did. Interesting. J. Patrick. Didn't know that. Hey Bernardo. Just gonna hide that real quick. Look at that beaut. There's just something about Porsche 911s. And that livery too. I love it. It's so classic 90s. Yeah, let's head into the cockpit, have a little look around here. Carrera Cup. Fire extinguisher. H shift stick. And you have a... what's that? AC down there? And yeah. Let's enable those things again. Yeah, so this car has ABS, which is nice, depending
All clear on pit exit.
who you ask. But it certainly makes driving it much more controllable than, for example, the 934, which was a real handful, to put it mildly. So of course this car has the typical Porsche attributes, and that is some turn in understeer, but super traction coming out of the corners. And listen to that sound, guys. Lovely, lovely. This car is also known as the Growler, because it does have a really nice growl. Boy, this is a goosebump sound. So it does understeer, but it also has a pretty lively rear if you are driving it on the limit. But overall, it's definitely manageable, this car. As I said, no comparison to the 934. There's 20 years of development between these two cars. This one is from early 90s. The 934 is, what is it, late 70s? Early 80s? Late 70s, I think. No, actually early 70s. Is it 74? Something? Might be wrong. It can get loose, that car, but it's super easy to catch. Those 911s, they just suit my driving style of going slow into the corner and fast out of the corner. Of course, ideally you will go fast in, fast out, but that is of course relative. So if you mean this one, this is just an app that is available in the dash that we will release as a showcase for the shared memory. And it's a spotting app similar to Heli Corsa and other apps you might be familiar with, that shows you when a car is next to you. If that's the one, that's what you meant. It does like to understeer, but it also does like to oversteer if you push it to the limit. Just be sure to be early enough on the brake so you don't overshoot going into the corner. Once you hook it up into the corner, you can definitely get a nice drive out of it. It does have a good amount of understeer. This is a scary section here, Schwedenkreuz. Holy shizzle.
Yellow flag in sector 1, yellow flag.
I say that it's easier to drive, but it's still a car from the 90s. Now I have aerodynamic damage. But I tell you what, we'll just start a race and see if we can challenge the AI a little bit. And then we will wrap it up for tonight. AI at 110%, that might be quite a challenge. We only have hard tire compound, so, and not much options actually in the suspension. It's pretty much factory settings or road car parts basically. Again, if you want to know more about the cars in detail, check out the links in the description about Alex Hodgkinson's driver briefings. He's our physics developer and he has gone into very much detail of each of these cars, and he knows much more about them than I do. Thanks, Claudio, see you. So, let's do a lap or two here and then we will call it a night. Let's see if we can overtake a few cars.
Go.
Oh my god, this sound is amazing, guys. I hope you guys can hear it well through the stream. And if not, you will be able to hear it when the car comes out, hopefully this week. Don't forget you can test drive every car for free in RaceRoom before you buy it. Oh, this is gonna be some amazing online racing, super close. That's the best part about cup racing. Everyone has the same car, and especially these cars that are not super high powered. The racing is always the best.
Yellow flag. Green flag.
So close, man. Forward to race against Yaroslav and company in this car, now that he has an 8-shifter. He can drive these cars properly. Apps are an example of what people will be able to do with the shared memory that is now available. And the guy who developed it, Mape, our web developer, is probably gonna share these apps and the app that you need to run this new HUD on the forum, I assume, or somewhere where you will be able to get it. I'm guessing he will share it the same day as the patch comes out. So definitely keep an eye on the forums and of course the RaceRoom Discord server, and you will get all the information right there. This is gonna be a tricky corner here. You know, with these weight transfers and the engine in the rear, it's very easy to send this car sideways. But we managed to keep it pointing forwards. Gonna give Mika Häkkinen a little tap here. Such a beautiful car. You can see the spotting app in action now. When I'm side by side with other cars, you can see the position of the car and of course the flashing red color that tells you that you're going side by side with another car. Man, such good traction with these rear engine Porsches. Oh, Häkkinen, what you doing? More cars your Titan will run out on. Just take it easy and don't go in and overdrive the car right away. Learn by driving it slowly approaching the limit. I know we always jump into the car and wanna go flat out, but not every car allows that. As you can see, man, the AI at 110% is quite fast here on the Nordschleife. Definitely a good challenge. Of course, I'm not driving 100% on the limit here. Also still learning this car.
White flag, yellow flag.
Oh!
Green flag, all clear.
Traffic jam in the carousel. That's weird. Might need to report that as a bug. It's good that we're doing some live beta testing here. That's a hefty curb right there. I'm actually curious how this car compares BOP wise with other classes like touring Touring Classics, but I think the Touring Classics and the TN92, they are quicker. Yeah, definitely. I think they will fall quite far behind them actually.
Yellow flag, stay sharp.
Ooh. That was a big yellow flag right there.
You're clear, incident clear.
That's another tricky corner with this car. Any corner with high speed weight transfers, you have to be very careful with all that weight in the rear, so you don't get this pendulum effect where, yeah, the rear is very easy to lose the rear. Okay, shall we do one more lap and then we will call it a night, guys. I hope you guys like what you see. It's quite a few cool things in this update. Oh wow, look at the AI getting out of the slipstream. You can see here in the dash. Gives a really good indication. Wow, look at that slipstreaming going on here. Getting swallowed. Very careful here on this corner. Take it very easy here on the brakes. Super easy to lose the car here. But all you Nordschleife freaks probably know that. Wow, 110% definitely a bit too much for me right now. AI difficulty. Oh, late on the brake. Did we make it? Just made it around that corner. But you can see this was a cut, registered as a cut. Suspension effect. I'm not sure what you mean by that. High SL Racing. I mean, as you can see, this car is moving around quite a bit. You can feel the weight shifting front to back, left to right. If you're referring to like track detail in the FFB, depending on what wheel you use, you might want to turn up the vertical forces, or probably more efficiently turn up the minimum force, which will amplify forces that your steering wheel might not be able to put out accurately. Unfortunately, I can't give you any good settings for direct drive wheels because I don't have one. But you should maybe get in touch with Gamer Muscle or Jimmy Broadband or William from SimRacing Paddock. They have more experience with direct drive wheels, and they have shared some good settings for RaceRoom in the past. I've heard Jimmy recently say that he got some really good direct drive settings for his latest Group C video that he did for us, or without content. He mentioned in that video that he has found some very good settings, so maybe it might be an idea to get in touch with him. Why do I not have a direct drive wheel? Because they are so expensive, man. And to be honest, in my opinion, they're a bit overrated. I know some people will now crucify me, but I don't feel like spending 1,000 bucks for a steering wheel. To be honest, I like how this wheel feels. It feels great to me. For sure, if you have a direct drive wheel, it's great, and I'm sure it is great. Is it worth the money? That every person has to decide that for themselves. Personally, I don't feel like it is, but I wouldn't say no to a direct drive wheel if I got a good deal. And I bet once you did get used to a direct drive wheel, it's hard to go back probably. So I'm not saying they are bad, they are obviously good in quality and force feedback. But I'm perfectly happy with how my Thrustmaster TS-PC Racer feels, to be honest with you. So I don't really feel that's where I need to spend my money. I'd much rather buy some good pedals, because I'm still on my Logitech G27s, and there's definitely room for improvement there in that department, and it's in my opinion a bigger gain over a new steering wheel. Driving with a direct drive wheel and Logitech G27s, now that would be ridiculous. But you know, to each his own. In my opinion, you don't need the most expensive hardware to enjoy a sim. Of course, that hardware is nice, and I don't want to take anything away from people who have their direct drive wheels and swear by them. But the other way around, I do enjoy my Thrustmaster wheel, and it feels great to me. So I had to laugh the other day, one of the comments on one of my ACC videos, when I complained about the lack of detail in the FB and the lack of feel for the car in general, the physics. Somebody was suggesting I should just buy a more expensive steering wheel. Whoa! Somebody flipped Mika Hakkinen.
Green flag.
That's not his race. Yeah, somebody suggested I need to buy a direct drive wheel because it feels perfect with the direct drive wheel, and I highly doubt that. You can't fix bad software with good hardware. Good software feels good on any kind of hardware, really. I was driving RaceRoom with a G27 for a long time, and I was perfectly happy with that. Except the fact that the G27 is very, very loud. But yeah, definitely prefer this Thrustmaster TS-PC Racer now. I'm not sure if I had a direct drive wheel, I would prefer that. But I don't feel like spending that amount of money, to be honest. But if somebody is out there and wants to sponsor me a direct drive wheel, I'm not gonna say no to that. Anywho, that was a little bit off topic, but everybody has their own opinions about hardware. As I said, I'm not so much a hardware freak.
Yellow flag.
Even though I'm sitting here in a motion simulator. But
Green flag, you're clear.
That's a different story.
Sector 3 is clear.
Yeah, as I said, this is gonna be extremely fun online, I bet. I'm expecting some very close racing in this car. It's easy to learn, but still hard to master a car. When driven on the limit, you can still get into a bit of trouble, especially on a tricky track like the Nordschleife. Well, we are hoping that Fanatec is going to send us one of their direct drive wheels to the studio so we can sport it. So I'll definitely have a chance to try that one out at least. But probably not be able to keep it for myself at home. And I've seen that SimUcube has launched a direct drive wheel, not just a DIY, buy your own engine and build your own wheel type of product. So maybe there's a chance we're gonna support that one as well. If they send us one, that would be very nice. But yeah, I think this will wrap it up for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're looking forward to some Group C and 911 Carrera Cup action in the future. And keep an eye out for this web HUD dash application that you will be probably getting through the forums, so you can get all these cool widgets and use them how you like. Also keep an eye out on new dedicated server options. If you are a community admin, you will notice some new settings. And yeah, that will be it for tonight. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked. If so, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then do so, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Goodbye.